Chris here. Just wanted to thank you for watching this video and for watching the other videos on our channel, especially the last three that were about our breakdown in Utah. They're a little rough to watch, really rough to make. That's part of why it took so long to get them out to you. But it is a part of our story, and we had to get it out there because it really is a transformational moment in our lives. It's impacted everything about how we see life and how we move forward with our travels from that moment forward. So I want to wrap up what happened, how we resolved the issue, because we didn't get that really well on video. It took place over the course of the next several months, was an immediate fix. I also want to talk about what we learned from the experience and why it's so important for us to get the video out now, or the videos out now, so that you could see what happened to us and how we managed to get through it. So the first thing, when the truck broke down, we of course didn't know what was going on. We were able to see that there was a code that was thrown. None of the code readers were picking up the issue and saying exactly what the problem was. We could narrow it down to injectors, but we literally had less than 2,000 miles on brand new injectors that we put in less than a month, actually 2 weeks before. So we knew that they really shouldn't be throwing the code. We also knew on the other end of that there's a computer that controls the injectors and tells them when to fire. So that was something that we had looked at as well. And that, with a brand new computer in there, that was working fine. The injectors were tested to work fine. So there was something misfiring between, which is the wiring or the harness. So we narrowed it down to that. Our great friend George, our mechanic back in Florida, has worked on Fords all his life. He knew exactly what the problem was. He said, "Chris, tell them it's the harness." And we tried over and over and over again to tell Ford, it's the harness, it's the harness, it's the harness. Let's get a new harness. We were told all kinds of things, of course. First thing, Ford doesn't make a harness. We don't install aftermarket harnesses. There's no used harnesses in the area that we could find and put in. They didn't want to do the work. And we kind of figured that out. So what it turned out is our harness had some wiring issues. So 2 injectors were getting misreads from the computer. So instead of 5 firing, 4 was firing. Instead of 4 firing, 5 was firing. And so that was causing chaos inside the engine, which caused it to sputter and ultimately shut down. It was a relatively simple issue when we look at it. Why Ford told us there was metal shards that they found in the oil, we suspect they just couldn't figure out what the problem was, and they weren't willing to do the work that it was going to take. They were going to bill us hourly. We were prepared to pay hourly, so I don't know why they wouldn't have done the work of installing the harness. Why they didn't even search for a harness. Fast forward, we ended up putting a new harness on. George, our mechanic in Florida, our good friend, ends up getting our truck. We shipped it to him. Long story of that. We did a crowdfunding. We were able to raise the funds to pay almost $2,000 to ship the truck from Utah to Florida to his driveway where he's got his diesel shop. George immediately diagnosed the problem, identified that it was the harness, and we ordered a part. It was $800 from another dealer, Ford dealer in Ohio, for around $800. So not only were harnesses available, but they were also Ford quality harnesses. We had one shipped to him. George put about 4 hours, I guess it was, into taking out the old harness, putting the new harness in, and that was it. So when we look back at the issue, a lot of things could have been done differently. First off, you never choose when to break down, and that's one of the things we learned, is that everybody does break down. If you have the money to continue to buy new toys, that's awesome. That's not us. We put our entire life savings into this journey. From Alaska to Argentina was our goal. We dumped as much money as we could into the best possible truck and the best possible camper. We've had to do repairs and upgrades on our own or trade services with friends to help us do work. So we've done the best that we can, and we've learned that everybody breaks down at some point. And this was a catastrophic, we call it our catastrophic breakdown, not because ultimately our trip ended, but because we had to confront the possibility that our trip was over. In the process of the several weeks around this experience, we had several people call us stupid, basically, to our face. We've had several comments recently that were implying about the same, and several simple solutions. Why don't you just go buy a new truck? And why don't you buy this? And why don't you do that? And so here's our situation. We were all in. We had $10,000 to our name at that point. So for those people who want to say, well, why don't you go buy a new truck? I want to know what truck we could buy for $10,000 that was going to do anything better than what we had available to us. The next thing, Ford offered to rebuild our engine for $11,000. I told him, nope, we've got $10,000 to our name. If I cash in the very last dollar of my retirement savings, which you're not ever supposed to do, and we never wanted to, that would be it. We don't have enough money to even pay for the rebuild. Then, let alone the $45,000 they wanted to sell us a new truck, which, of course, they were willing to credit all the repairs that they were doing to our new truck, which we weren't going to buy. So we had to work with Ford on that, and we ended up owing them some money. Really brings us to one of the things that we learned, which is how you handle yourself in a crisis says more than the crisis itself. So this is a big life lesson. People we know, we've got some great followers, great subscribers who are going through things far worse than us. But this was a crisis for us, and Lindsay and I decided right off the bat, when we couldn't figure out how to get a quick fix out of it, when it wasn't just reading a code and saying, oh yeah, just go put this part in, we looked at each other and we said, how do we want to respond to the situation? And for us, responding to it in a calm, peaceful, Christian-like manner is exactly what we wanted to do. We didn't want to scream and yell. We didn't want to be ridden with anxiety. We didn't want to say things to each other or to other people that we didn't really mean. So we decided, we literally sat down and we said, let's make the best of the situation, whatever it is. We believe God placed us on this journey for a purpose. We don't believe that purpose was to break down, but it happened. And so we said, how can we respond in a way that shows that this is just a part of our story? Which is why we needed to share the video with you. We didn't freak out. We stayed calm. We said, okay, we have $10,000 to our name. If that's what it takes to get us out of this situation, then let's do that. So rewinding a little bit, how did the story wrap up? Well, we ended up shipping our truck to Florida, to George. I shared with you George had a relatively quick fix, but it's not George's full-time job to fix trucks. So we gave it to George, or we had it shipped to George's driveway. We said, George, when you get a chance to look at it, take a look at it. That took several weeks for him to get a chance to look at it. And again, immediately once he looked at it, he knew what the problem was. Within a couple days, we had a part shipped in and the truck was fixed. In the meantime, we rented the truck in Montana and drove to Utah and put the camper on, which you saw in episode 3 or part 3. We took the camper to where we were trying to go for the summer anyway, which is the small town of Thermopolis, Wyoming. We fell in love with that town, had some good friends that we made, and our goal, we had worked all winter to save up money so that we could volunteer our time to help our friends build out some rental properties, and we were looking forward to spending the summer in this beautiful town in Wyoming while we waited for the next steps in our journey, which was going to be toward Mexico. So in that time, we ended up getting jobs. Instead of volunteering all of our time, we had to actually go get jobs because now we had almost a $5,000 bill to pay when everything was said and done. I say $5,000 bill to pay. Lindsay and I are zero debt. That's another part of our story we haven't shared very well. We have no debt. We pay cash for everything. If something breaks, we've got to either take money out of an emergency savings fund and then we immediately work to pay it back, or we don't get it fixed, or we stay where we are. We do not go into debt. So with no debt and a belief that we should not take on debt, we were in the situation where we had to work hard all summer. So we worked all summer and got the call from George several weeks in. He said, everything's great, everything's fine, got it all fixed, it runs perfect. So at that point, I booked a flight for mid-July and I flew back to Florida, left Lindsay and Everest at our camper in Wyoming. I eventually flew back, picked up the truck, ran perfect, although for the 2,200 miles back to Thermopolis, I was just waiting for the other shoe to fall. I was waiting for that awful sound, that god-awful sound of 2,200 miles. In the course of about 2.5 days later, I'm back in Wyoming, and we finished working the rest of the summer. We worked right up until Labor Day. Our jobs kind of fell off, and so we said, let's go to Mexico. So that leads into season 1.5. If you want to go check out those videos, that's where life really got exciting for us. Went up to Montana, and then we curved back from the Canadian border all the way down to the Mexican border and spent season 2 all winter and into the spring in Baja. By the way, the truck has 488,000 miles on it right now. It had 10,000 miles less than that when this happened. We've put 10,000 miles on driving all around, no problem whatsoever. The engine itself is absolutely fine. I know we got Ford haters out there. Hate away. We joked about the Dodge situation. We've towed Dodges before. We actually had the truck towed on a Dodge to Florida. So there's all this, we like to joke with each other. But our truck is a solid truck. So rest assured, things are fine. The truck's driven 10,000 miles, done great. Took us all the way through Baja. Came back, of course, when COVID had the outbreak and the uncertainty. But we do plan to continue to put another 20,000, 30,000 miles on this truck and take it well over the 500,000 mile mark. If you've made it this far, wrapping up, what I want to share with you is that we feel called to wander. That is who we are. So some of the solutions out there that people have just aren't for us. The stories that we have, the people that we meet, the impact that we hope we're having in you, our viewers' lives, as well as our readers and our website, as well as the people that we personally come in contact with. That's why we're doing what we're doing. It's foolish, it's crazy, it's stupid. We've heard all kinds of things and all kinds of reasons why we shouldn't do what we do. And then on the other hand, we've also made some of the best friends of ours are well into their 70s and 80s, and they say, we wish we had done what you're doing right now. So that's why we're sharing this video with you, is that this breakdown is such an important part of our story to help you understand who we are, what we've been through, and what our attitude is moving forward as we travel. Things are not going to go right for us all the time. In fact, I have this impending doom that feels like it sits on my shoulder almost all the time. I constantly pray it away because I know that whatever happens in life, things will get better. That whatever happens in life that may be beyond my control, all I can control is how I respond to it. We're continuing to try to encourage you, inspire you, and build you up wherever you are in your life to be able to go through whatever adventures you have planned or what you want to go on. Again, we know that all of you are at different stages in life. Some of you can afford brand new RVs and you don't ever have to deal with the breakdown issues that we have. Some of you are like us. You're fumbling along, just trying to do the best you can in life. Some of you are in between. And we appreciate that we've got a varied audience. We appreciate your positive comments, your support. It's been overwhelming, not only in the experience that we had where we only had about 100 subscribers. We had strangers come out of the woodworks for us and offer to donate to our GoFundMe that we ran. We had friends that we didn't realize were such great friends that stepped up for us in amazing ways. And so we know what we're doing is having an impact in people's lives, and you are having an impact in our lives. And together we're trying to create the smaller world where the world is a better place. It's naive, it's stupid, it's dumb, it's whatever, but it's our lives. We appreciate you following along. We appreciate you being a part of our journey. We appreciate the opportunities we have to interact with you, and we look forward to hopefully meeting as many of you as we can on the road sometime in the near future. Thanks again for watching. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe, like this video, put a positive comment, send us an email, say hello. We respond to every comment, we respond to every email. We'd love to connect with you. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.